Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. These are the top stories. My name is Esther Mwachuku. National grid collapses again. Power generation drops to 24 megawatts. Accident on Lagos-Ibadan expressway claims life causes gridlock. Suspected terrorists raid Borno village 5. In a very recent development as well, the U.S., including Nigerian government, launched joint counter-terrorism working group to protect vulnerable communities. Governor Abba Yusuf quits NNPP as Kano political realignment intensifies. Rivers Court steps aside, awaits appeal outcome concerning Fubara's impeachment. 5 detained officers fall ill over alleged coup plot against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And House of Reps Minority Caucus confirms alteration of gazetted tax laws. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The national power grid collapsed once again, leaving parts of the country in darkness and disrupting electricity supply to millions of households and businesses. Now, electricity generation dropped sharply from over 4,500 megawatts to as low as 24 megawatts as of 1:30 p.m. today. All 23 power generation plants connected to the grid reportedly lost output during the incident, resulting in zero power allocation to each of the 11 electricity distribution companies. The cause of the collapse could not be immediately determined, and officials of the Transmission Company of Nigeria were yet to issue a detailed statement at the time of this report being filed. This is the first grid collapse recorded in 2026, coming barely weeks after a similar incident on December 29, 2025, which had also caused widespread power outages across the country. In recent years, grid collapses have been attributed to a combination of technical faults, inadequate maintenance of transmission lines, and fluctuations in generation capacity. Stakeholders have continued to call on the government and power operators to implement robust contingency measures to prevent recurring failures. While the public awaits an official explanation, the latest collapse has renewed concerns over Nigeria's electricity infrastructure and its ability to support the growing demand for reliable power supply. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority has confirmed the death of a trailer driver in an accident that occurred in the early hours of Friday at the Otedola Bridge section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The Ogun State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps confirmed that the resulting gridlock has extended towards the Kara axis of the expressway, including 3rd Mainland Bridge. As earlier reported, the twin accident involved heavy-duty vehicles. Confirming the driver's death in a statement today, last month spokesperson Adebayo Taufik said the fatality resulted from a violent collision. Now, the forceful impact had devastating consequences, resulting in the entrapment of the driver of the sand-laden trailer, who sustained fatal injuries and was later confirmed dead. He added that the body of the deceased driver had been taken to Ikeja General Hospital. Taufik also confirmed that a second crash occurred a short distance from the first accident. Confirming the prolonged gridlock in a statement, the FRSC Ogun Sector Command spokesperson Afolabi Odunsi linked the congestion to the Otedola Bridge crash and ongoing repair of the Kara Bridge expansion joint. He said the traffic congestion between Otedola Bridge and Warewa through Kara and Long Bridge, the situation is primarily a result of the RTC on Otedola Bridge and compounded by the ongoing reinstallation of expansion joints on Kara Bridge. Suspected Boko Haram terrorists have reportedly killed an Exia Yanuwa, a Nigerian pastor, and 4 other residents of Tarafa village in Hawul local government area of Borno State. The AP News gathered that the terrorists attacked the community at about 7 p.m. on Thursday night, displacing residents, firing sporadically, setting buildings ablaze. According to correspondents, the attackers stormed the village on motorcycles, operated for over an hour without resistance from security operatives. Confirming this incident to correspondents, the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Borno State Chapter, Most Reverend John Bakeni, said 5 persons lost their lives in the attack. Eyewitnesses also confirmed that many members of the community fled the area following the attack. The source further appealed to the government to increase the deployment of security operatives in the area, stating that residents of the community remain under threat. Meanwhile, when contacted, the spokesperson of the Borno State Police Command, ASP Nahum Dasu, requested time to verify the incident. As of press time, he is yet to do so. Nigeria and the United States have launched a joint counter-terrorism working group aimed at deepening security cooperation, enhancing intelligence sharing, and protecting vulnerable communities from violent extremism. The initiative, known as U.S.-Nigeria Working Group, was formally inaugurated in Abuja today, bringing together senior security and government officials from both countries. According to a post on U.S. Africa Command on its X account on Friday, leading the U.S. delegation, Lieutenant General John Brennan said the group establishes a new framework for coordination, accountability, and joint efforts to counter terrorism and protect the vulnerable. The launch follows Nigeria's assertion that its security collaboration with the United States has significantly strengthened counter-terrorism operations, especially in the northeast, northwest, and north-central regions. At a plenary session held at the Office of the National Security Advisor to address Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern, Nuhu Ribadu and Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris disclosed that Nigeria welcomed the partnership, noting that it respects the country's sovereignty while prioritizing civilian protection and accountability. The U.S. delegation at the session was led by U.S. Secretary of State for Political Affairs Alison Hooker. Ribadu said the engagement marked the third high-level meeting with senior U.S. officials since November 2025 and reflected a relationship grounded in trust, candor, and shared responsibility. Now, Kano State Governor Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf has formally resigned from the New Nigeria People's Party, citing protracted internal crisis, legal disputes, and he has said have weakened the party's cohesion nationwide. The resignation was disclosed in a statement issued today by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofa. According to the statement, Yusuf communicated his decision in a letter addressed to the chairman of the NNPP in Diso Chiranchi Ward, Gwale local government area, with effect from January 25, 2026. Yusuf expressed appreciation to the party for providing him with a political platform since 2022, noting that the support he received contributed to his emergence and governance. The governor attributed his decision to persistent leadership disputes, court cases that have continued to destabilize the party at both state and national levels. He added that the internal rift had created deep divisions amongst members and weakened the party structure. Yusuf said his resignation followed careful consideration and was guided strictly by the public interest of Kano residents. The governor's exit was accompanied by the resignation of 21 members of the Kano State House of Assembly, 8 members of the House of Representatives, and all 44 local government chairmen in the state. The resignation letter was acknowledged by the NNPP Secretary of Diso Chiranchi Ward, Honorable Kabiru Subeiru, who commended the governor's performance in office. And Oyibo High Court of Rivers State, sitting in Port Harcourt, has adjourned indefinitely the suit filed by Governor Sim Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu, challenging the impeachment process initiated against them by the Rivers State House of Assembly. Justice Florence Fubara-Sima took the decision after being informed that 2 separate appeals had been entered in respect of the matter, holding that the Court of Appeal must first determine the issues raised before further proceedings could continue at the lower court. At the resumed hearing, counsel to the Speaker of the House, Martin Amawale, and 27 lawmakers, SIA men, informed the court of the pending appeals and orally applied for a stay of proceedings. The application was not opposed by counsel to the claimants, Paul Orikoro, nor by Lawrence Oko Jaja, who represent Victor Oko Jimbo, also Timothy and Sokari Goodboy, the other defendants in the suit. Justice Fubara-Sima consequently adjourned the matter sine die, pending the outcome of the appeals. This development followed an earlier interim injunction granted by the same court, which restrained the Speaker, Martin Amawale, several lawmakers, the Clerk of the House, and the Chief Judge of Rivers State from taking further steps towards the impeachment of the governor and his deputy. At least 5 military officers detained over an alleged coup plot to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government has reportedly fallen ill while in custody, with 2 said to have collapsed last week. Sources disclosed that the officers who were initially held at the Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters in Abuja were later moved to a dark underground military detention facility. About 5 of them critically sick. 2 of them collapsed last week. Till now, some of them are keeping mum. The source alleged that one of the detained officer was not directly involved in the alleged plot, but was being punished for having prior knowledge without alerting authorities. Relatives of the detained officers alleged that they had been kept in the dark about the whereabouts of their loved ones for months. One of the wives of the detained officers said families were considering staging a protest at the DIA facility in Abuja to demand information about the whereabouts of their loved ones. Also, in October 2025, several senior military officers were arrested by the Defense Intelligence Agency over an alleged coup plot to overthrow Tinubu's administration, something that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu denied ever happening. The investigation is being handled by the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Lieutenant General Emmanuel Parker Udandeye, who was appointed by the President on October 24, 2025. Military sources said the arrest caught across the Nigerian Army, Navy and Air Force and followed weeks of covert surveillance and coordinated operations. Now, the detained officers reportedly include Brigadier General Musa Abubakar Sadiq, alleged to be the leader of the plot, Colonel M.A. Ma'aji, Lieutenant Colonel S. Bafa, A.A. Hayatu, P. Dangnap and M. Al Makura, Majors A.J. Ibrahim, M.M. Jida, M.A. Usman, D. Yusuf and I. Dauda, Captains Ibrahim Bello, A.A. Yusuf, Lieutenant S.S. Felix, Lieutenant Commander D.B. Abdullahi of the Nigerian Navy, Squadron Lieutenant S.B. Adamu of the Nigerian Air Force. Some of the officers, sources said, had previously faced disciplinary or operational controversies. Also, Silva's residence was raided. The case also took a political twist after military operatives reportedly raided the Abuja residence of a former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Timi Silva. Security sources said the operation followed intelligence reports linking a former South governor to alleged meetings with some of the detained officers. Silva later confirmed the raid but denied any involvement in the alleged coup plot to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives have confirmed a difference in the tax laws approved by the National Assembly and the version gazetted by the government after it was signed by President Bola Tinubu. According to the lawmakers, some portion of the Nigeria's recently gazetted laws were illegally altered. The disclosure was contained in an interim report of the Minority Caucus Ad Hoc Committee on Tax Laws set up to investigate allegations of discrepancies between the Tax Reform Acts passed by the legislature and the versions published in the official gazette. Recall that on January 2, 2026, the caucus, under the leadership of the Minority Leader, Right Honorable Kingsley Chinda, constituted a 7-member fact-finding committee chaired by Honorable Afam Victor Ogane. Other members are Honorable Aliyu Guru Bochi, Honorable Stanley Adedeji, Oyo State, Honorable Ibe Osamwa, Abia State, Honorable Mari Ebikake Bayelsa, Honorable MB Shehu Fage Kano, and Honorable Gazagwe Fui Jonathan Nasarawa. According to the committee's preliminary findings, a comparison of the certified true copies released by the House with the earlier gazetted versions confirmed that alterations had indeed been made, particularly to the Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025. According to the committee's preliminary findings, a comparison of the certified true copies released by the House with the earlier gazetted versions confirmed that alterations had indeed been made, particularly to the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. The report revealed that at least 3 different versions of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act were in circulation, with a directive to align the acts with the federal government printing press pointed to procedural anomalies that illegally encroached on the legislative powers of the National Assembly. Among the contentious alterations identified was sections 29 subsection 1 of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, where reporting thresholds were lowered in the gazetted version from 50 million naira to 25 million naira for individuals and from 250 million naira to 100 million naira for companies, contrary to what was passed by the legislature. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. I have with me right here in the studio Mr. Elvis Elimehele, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator, a journalist of over 3 decades. Mr. Elvis, glad to have you with me in the studio this evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Esther.
How
thank
are
God
you?
it's Friday. It's good
Yes, thank
to
God
be
it's
here.
Friday. We actually have quite a lot when it comes to Friday.
Honestly.
Starting from the situation with the traffic at Otelola Bridge with the dastardly accident that occurred. To be honest with you, it encroached most routes, major routes in Lagos. Currently, right now on the road, there is heavy traffic. So, an estimation roughly being that if you want to apply Third Mainland Bridge at this time, returning home, I think estimatedly you should be getting home precisely at 9 p.m. If you have to consider it. Oshodi Akpokpa Expressway 2 is also heavily congested. So, obviously, it's a spillover of what transpired at the Otejola Bridge. But, Mr. Elvis, let's look at the situation with what transpired very lately with the killings that occurred in one of the states where 5 persons were killed. Suspected terrorists raided a Borno village. 5 persons were killed. We saw one where Reverend Dachomo had to come visit. I don't know if you saw that video very recently. He came to visit that community somewhere, I think in Plateau. Ever since this country was designated as a country of particular concern, with the air raids, Air Force really bulldozing these guys, they seem to be more primal in having to attack communities, especially Christian communities. In fact, this time around, it's not like a group of persons were murdered. It's Christian targeted communities. What does this mean, especially now that Nigeria is trying to have a strong collaboration with the United States in curbing insecurity in Nigeria and stopping the spread of Christian genocide? What does this actually depict?
Well, Esther, it shows that what we are seeing in Nigeria, like we have all been saying, that the insecurity in this nation is more political than you and I seeing it. That's exactly the confirmation.
Are we saying the government do not know these guys up till now?
The government knows, but the government is, foot dragging in doing what is supposed to be.
Why would they foot drag? Now you have the U.S. wanting to do what they can with you.
Yeah,
this is an opportunity to decimate.
They never knew that a situation of this nature will arise, that the U.S. was going to come. Now the U.S. came. Unfortunately, they have already given too much latitude on these guys. So for them not to clip in on them, it's like, they are not between the devil and the deep blue sea. They don't even know where to start any longer. The government is moping because they know this guy over the years and they allow them. They just, give them free hand. Now US came like, we want to come and fight this with you. Yeah. So the government is moping. They are neither here or there. But the earlier they quickly, retrace their footstep and align with the U.S. to get this insecurity stamped out, the better for this administration of Buhari Tinubu. Because otherwise, what happened in Buhari's government will be a child's play. In Buhari's government, there was nothing like the U.S. Buhari government could tell Nigerians lies and get away with it. But now, you see every attack that takes place in Nigeria now, it's already being analyzed in the U.S. Congress. Yeah. Before you know, they're already tweeting it and they're already analyzing it. That shows that they are well on ground, intellectually and physically. They were here, they saw things, by themselves. As we say here, Koro, they came to see Koro eyes. They saw what we are going through. So there is nothing to be painted here. So even with that $9 million we saw that day, I'm telling you, it's a monumental failure, Esther, because the world is a global village now. Before you even start to talk of lobbying, they are already aware of what is going on.
Some persons feel the president ought to take advantage of this to wipe out those guys.
Yes,
and if at all it's all about the elections of 2027, this is what he can add to his medals in terms of accomplishment. Something that Buhari couldn't do for 8 years. Yes. He was able to do it in less than 4 years. Why are we not seeing that act? Could it be that the president has done his part, but certain elements supposedly in charge of this are stalling?
The president have not done his part. The president should still look inward. Even his kitchen cabinet, so many are still there, that he has not had the willpower to remove. The president have to do a lot of rejigging. He has to do a lot of panel beating, remove so many people from even his cabinet. So many people that are pretending to be with him, they are not with him.
What if he has done that? They're not in the public domain. These are persons who silently used to work in the kitchen cabinet, but ever since the disclosure of certain persons working in collaboration with these terrorists, a lot of sidelining has occurred. And also, if you recall as well, that the coup plot, which the government denied heavily, that could have also, enabled a reshuffling of his cabinet, closed kitchen cabinet.
That reshuffling we saw was more of because of the coup. But we want to see more reshuffling because of this, resurgence of this insurgency. Because many of them that are still dining with him, they are moles. They are not with him. They want to still look for a way to actually make sure that they pull down this his government to a level that the US will say, have we not told you?
Is that why he travels out more often?
But we are not seeing the result of the traveling. The travel, Esther, is not more of this. So some people are saying he's traveling because of health and all that. We don't know, but we believe.
No, he never admits it's health. He admits that he's marketing the country.
It's marketing. How are we saying it? We are not seeing it reflecting on the insecurity matter. When he was there on this last one that he stayed almost about 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. We saw all that happened in Niger State. We saw even the one that happened in Adamawa, and we saw the one that recently happened now in Kaduna. Within the few periods he just came in, and now we are hearing that he's packing his bag now to go again. And we are seeing the one that you just read now in your news bulletin. What is happening? If he's traveling, one we have to see that, okay, with the collaboration of the US and part of his traveling, we are seeing results. We are not seeing results. So there are so many things that are still, there are so many that are hanging. You know, it happened to Goodluck Jonathan in this manner. Goodluck Jonathan was thinking that most of this cabinet were with him, not knowing that his cabinet was already torn apart. So before you knew, Jonathan was left alone. So Tinubu is also in that same situation now, except he losing what, and he should take this bold step of like, if you are not for me, you are against me. This time around, I don't even trust anybody. So let me now just think of how to make sure that I align with the people of Nigeria. Because if Tinubu can still work on the insecurity of this nation between now and 2027, Nigeria will give him his will have that confidence in him and say, let's try him. Since he aligned with the US, we have seen changes.
Some people feel that he needs those people to win the elections, and after the elections, he will come full out show his real color to those guys. Do
you even know what will happen before the election with what we are going on? This matter might be tougher with him if the US sees that he's not doing anything. Because they keep telling him, galvanize yourself and fight this insecurity in Nigeria. Otherwise, there's still otherwise there is pending. We only saw the Christmas day on that day. We don't know the one that is going to happen then. So it's better he align with the people and the US and fight this insurgency, deliberately and headlong, so that he will be at the safer side. If he says he want to, let him guide himself, stingily to get into power in 2027. 2027 might not even arise with what we are seeing.
Exactly.
Something else may happen.
I mean, just yesterday, StatusSense released a report. Out of 195 countries, Nigeria, in terms of Christian global killings, amounts for 70%.
77, yes.
That's about 3,000. I mean, if you consider in terms of 8 to 10, the rest of the world was 1,000 something. For Nigeria, 3,000 and something.
That is it.
So in every 2 to 5 hours, almost 2 or 3 people are being killed.
So who are Christians in this nation?
It's crazy.
Yes, there's so many.
You have to conduct a population census. I doubt if Nigeria is estimated to be as populated as we imagine that it is.
That's to tell you the situation we are.
And a lot of deaths have occurred that are even unreported.
Unreported. So many are not reported. It's the one that we hear and that we read in the news. There are so many that are not reported. There are so many that even before they report it, another greater event would have overtaken it.
Yes.
So that one would have been like, it's not important any longer. Let's talk about this. Look at the one that happened on Sunday. Look at the whole commissioner of police denying it. That same commissioner of police is kept in Nigeria.
But you remember the PPRO came to defend him.
There was nothing to be defended there.
Didn't you watch him on channel?
I was looking at him. I said, this police PPRO is just fooling the organization is representing. And that same commissioner is remaining in that state. These are the things I'm telling you. If Tinubu actually want to fight this insurgency, and such commissioner of police by now would have been shown the way out. Would have been shown the way out. These are the reasons why I'm saying if you don't align with the people, 2027 is dicey. So then even the local government chairman who supported
exactly.
The supported the commissioner of police
others not to say what happened,
and even guard the people from even going to the village to even see what is going on.
What is the problem with these people and hiding the truth? Mr. Elvis, I don't understand. He paid $9 million to lobby to say that it is not a Christian genocide per se, but it's like, and that we want to collaborate with you. Why do you need to? Okay, let's look at this. 5 military officers who were amongst those detained collapsed. 2 collapsed and the other ones fell seriously ill. They were being held in a particular underground military detention facility at the Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters in Abuja, but now they've taken them underground. You can't get access to them. Now, I don't know, 5 of them are critically ill, 2 have collapsed. Obviously, they've been going through the torture. They said one of them actually had nothing to do with it, but because he had prior knowledge, that's why he's been tortured. The family members are saying they are going to stage a protest. Now, when this alleged coup situation came up, we heard that it was not true. The government of the day on 3 different occasions told us that it wasn't true. But now we are seeing names. Up to now we're hearing alleged coup. And they refused to talk about it. They kept quiet until we now saw the families of this persons telling us that indeed it happened. And these are all their names. Their names have been released. Investigations are ongoing. And they're trying to connect the dots with the political actors behind all of this. It's obvious that some of them may have run away. So the question is this. These are supposed persons who made this plan, could be close allies of the president. The region of these individuals, you see where they come from.
Yeah.
But everywhere is quiet about it. So the question was, why deny in the first instance that there was a plan to dethrone your government? It means that the security even within you was not precise, was not airtight.
You see the contradiction, Esther? You see why we are saying it's not good to tell lies. Speak the truth at all time, because by the time you speak one lie, you will be looking for 10 or 15, 20 to cover out that one. And every time you speak that lie, it becomes wider. The pyramid becomes wider that you can no longer control it. Initially, at the beginning of this matter, they said there is no coup. They said these are officers that could not pass their exams.
Yes.
They've tried the exams separately, and they are disgruntled. That was how they described it. What offense can be greater in the military, Esther, against the government, that will make people the Nigerian soldiers be put underground cell? What offense?
For a very long time.
For a very long time.
In fact, before it came to the press, they've been down for almost a month.
We started hearing this matter now since October. October to this time, Esther, we're talking about about 4 months going. These guys have not been brought for trial, and now we are hearing that they fall sick and they have been transferred further into a deeper dungeon. Now they are there. What is the offense? What is the offense that cannot be told to this nation that this is what these guys have committed? These are officers that Nigeria has at a time spent their money to train them. The same officers that have enlisted and said we want to put our life on the line for this nation. So if they go against the law, tell the nation that this is what they have done, this is why they are incarcerated, and they're going to appear in court at so time. Set up your military tribunal to try them. Nigeria will know that at every time you are carrying us along. But because we have the culture of telling lies in government, Esther, which has always been, then we continue to tell lies. By the time we speak one lie, we are looking for 10, 15, 20 to cover it up. At the time, we can no longer cover it. That's why you are now seeing alleged coup plotter.
What is alleged? You have names. These are names.
But the names now have been brought out, various rank, across the armed forces.
I'm telling you.
The military,
the Air Force,
and
the Navy.
We are heard it now. We are heard all the names now. Then Nigerian government are still telling you that there is no coup plot. It's a lie. Then we are here. We are also here now. You know, the president has refused to come back from abroad. That one is hiding now, like
he's still there,
looking for an asylum now to keep himself off because he's fingered in this matter. I don't know how long. So tomorrow now, even if they now come and tell you actually there was a coup, but. Will you ever believe them again next time? This is the discrepancy they have set for them between the public and the government that have led to where we are today. This is the reason why anytime they speak, Nigerians don't believe in them.
At all.
And there is no way Nigeria will ever believe in them because they have never shown us that responsibility as far as they are concerned in the governance of this nation. We keep hearing denial
all the time.
Even when it is being reported, even sometimes they clamp down on the media.
Yes.
Saying, why will you report such thing? Because the media want the people to know. Our own responsibility as media, we are fought them in the estate. We are to guide, be the watchdog of the government.
Arm of the government, actually.
Yes, first arm of the government. So we must do our duty, even if they are telling lies. The people deserve to know what is going on in their country. Not that we will not be hearing from another country, maybe until Donald Trump tweet or members of the US Congress tweet before Nigeria cannot hear what is going on. We have fought the military. Remember when we were fighting the military?
Yes.
They go to as far as the media houses to clamp down that newspaper must not come out because there was this our job was not as civilized as it is now that you have social media and all that. Then they could come and close the media and even go after the vendors.
Or plant a fake story. Or start up with a propaganda. Exactly. Start up with a propaganda. Because there's no virtual evidence and the information comes from the government. There's nothing the people can do.
But today it's not like that. Even from the comfort of your bedroom now, you can give information to
before the government even tells us what they want to tell us. We already know about it.
We already know.
Because they cannot clamp down on social media. Everyone now is a journalist.
Yes.
Everyone is reporting events as it comes.
It's not reporting. Unlike before that, they chase the vendor on the street, confiscate newspapers
exactly,
and
or go to newspaper houses or broadcast stations and close them down.
Close it down. Now with your phone, you're already reading what they are hiding.
Exactly.
So why will you continue to hide? Why will you continue to tell lies?
I don't
and
understand.
You have a media aides who are supposed to carry Nigerians, as many as media aides they have, are supposed to tell Nigerians, because this is the next stage of what we are doing. This is why this person is like this. Nigerians will appreciate you more when you tell them the truth.
When you're transparent.
When you are transparent.
Nobody is saying release all the sensitive information, but at least
Nigerians are hearing like a second-class news, and you still want them to respect you.
I mean, Bayo went on a monitor television program to say that there was no coup.
There was no coup.
He said so.
That matter is still hanging. Tomorrow night he will be denying it. It was misquoted. That's the next thing that will go.
He said there was no coup.
There was no coup.
That there was just some disgruntled military officers.
Yes.
How? If there was no coup, why are these guys staying on the ground? Why are they tortured? Why do you know what it is for them to have collapsed? They must have been heavily tortured.
Now you know what they are going through. And what offense could be bigger than being a coup plotter for them to face such offense? What offense can be bigger than that? There's none, because they see it as, okay, this is an offense against the state. Mm-hmm. That's why they are being tortured.
It's treason. It's treason. But the question is, why deny them access to lawyers? That's what the wives are saying.
No, they haven't even arraigned them.
They're still interrogating them.
They're still interrogating them. They're still in detention. So we are going to see. There's nothing going to be higher than. We saw Abacha. He arrested the second in command, later Oladipo. We saw him, and at the end of the day, we still saw that they were arraigned and they were tried, and they said they were found guilty. We even saw when he arrested the former president, the head of state then, Olusegun Obasanjo, and jailed him. What have we not seen? Who is bigger than these people that we are mentioning, that you cannot tell Nigerians these people wanted to overthrow your government, and this is the government, and at least Nigeria voted this government. You just sit and you even have sympathy. Nigeria say, no, we don't want coup. We are happy with our democracy. But now you're hiding it, you are gagging it. Nigerians don't know exactly what is going on. Nigerians, these people they will not be good to have sympathy and say, at least what offense do they commit? That they'll be incarceration for 4 months, they are not being tried, and you are sending them deeper and deeper into greater dungeon that they cannot even reach their families. So sympathy will start coming in.
But if you have done all you want to do, you've interrogated, you found out what you want to get, you've tried to connect the dots and all that, why not take them to court?
Take them to court, because this is a democratic government. We want to see more transparency in a government we voted for than the one we said, oh, they came to power by force. We don't have that right over them. That's why we said they must go. That was the military. But this one we have the right over you. Do you think Nigerians will be happy that the government they voted for somebody want to come and truncate it? Nigerians will not be happy. You will even have more support and say, no, we don't need military. We don't need military. But now you are not hiding it. There is no coup. And you are dressmaking it. You are trying to make it sugarcoat it, and there is no coup. And they are coming up with different. Tomorrow they will not tell you, okay, we have now set a military tribunal to try them. Who will not believe them? Who will not listen to them? Who will not remind them of when you told us that there was no coup? It's a shame.
It's quite a shame. I do hope that they are able to effectively know what is to be done about these individuals, and if they're indeed guilty,
the earlier the better. It's already even getting too late.
They should not be denied access to
at
lawyers.
all.
According to
they
what
deserve to be defended
a coup
adequately.
situation is indeed treasonable. It is not something anybody wants, but that tells you the laxity and insecurity within the president's government. I even heard that even the NSA was part of it. Mr. Wale Edun, what I mean part of it was he was also targeted by these individuals. Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance too, was also top officers in Tinubu's government were targeted over this.
You know what we heard, that they were planning Independence Day. You know that the president was now in Lagos Independence and there was no ceremony. You know what that could have mean if actually, these people actually wanted to strike on Independence Day. It would have been very bloody. But thank God that it never happened in that manner. So that's.
The president they couldn't be elaborate about the process.
There was it was here in Lagos. There was nothing like a celebration of independence. But we heard that day when it happened, there was a phantom coup in the Republic of Benin. It was everywhere, and even Nigerian government now took the lead and said, no, it must not happen. Don't you think that other countries will also support you and say no? Nigeria is too big in ECOWAS and even in Africa and in the world in general for them to go back to military administration after 26 years of democracy that we are thanking God that we eventually got after so many years. So this democracy is like a baby to some of us in this nation. So if they don't even value it, those themselves that are in power, we value it. That's why we are saying let them be transparent so that we know where to assist them where necessary. Esther.
Yeah, very true. Let's look at what's going on in Rivers. Mr. Elvis Alimehele. I don't know. Rivers is always a state with political conflict.
No, it's Nollywood, Esther.
Mr. Elvis, an Igbo High Court of Rivers State sitting in Port Harcourt adjourned indefinitely the suit filed by Governor Sim Fubara and his deputy challenging the impeachment process initiated against them by the Rivers State House of Assembly. Can you explain what this means? First of all, because Daniel Bala said something, an order from the president himself. I don't know if you saw that.
Normally, now that the judge is following the normal process, not trying to say, oh, it's not recognized and all that. No, there is a case already pending. Therefore, this one that has come, I can't work on this. Let us first trash that one that is pending then before we now know what to do about this. Okay. That's a good one, legally and as that's what is expected. My people always make parable that when two trees fall on each other, you first of all call the one on the top before you now call the bottom one so that you can move. So now I said I'm adjourning this thing indefinitely because he wants to hear when the other court will.
But you hear what Daniel Bala said, where he delivered a message from the president, literally saying that Wike has crossed the line. Wike worked for the president and he has been adequately compensated. That he should leave Fubara to govern Rivers State. The president has said, leave Fubara to govern Rivers State, and they're saying that right now it may be that Wike has been relegated. Fubara is the political leader of Rivers State, and even if this impeachment is supposedly tantamount to whatever anyone expects it to be, now that he's in APC, the president will not allow that take place. So the question is, do you think the president will choose a Wike over Fubara? Nentangwa has said that anybody who is not in the APC should not even be given an appointment. He said that, I think yesterday, that you can't say you're a technocrat or whatever. In other words, from 2027, if Tinubu wins the elections, anyone that is given any appointment whatsoever must be a member of the APC. So in other words, if Wike wants to continue to enjoy in Tinubu's government as an appointee of his government, he must join the APC. Do you see this as a threat to Wike, saying, Oga, you better know that your time is coming to an end because you're not in the APC, you cannot, all right, create any form of obstacle? So would Wike eventually join the APC now that we've heard the order from the APC chairman?
Esther, there is an adage in my place, the good people of Edo State. They say when you, because of your enemy, blind your eyes, you will not use that eyes again to see your friend. When this law was being made in APC, they never knew a situation of this nature was going to arise.
This was just 2 days ago.
They never knew that when they said, the governor of all their states is going to be the leader of the political party in that state. That law was made before ever Fubara came on board. At this time, Fubara was still in PDP with his political godfather. It was not concerning them, whatever was going on in APC. But here we are. The trajectory changed. And now Fubara now crossed and became a member of the APC. That same law that had been existed, they could have shifted the goalpost now because Fubara have come. Because Fubara is no more an enemy now. He's now one of their sons. He's now one of their sons. He's a member of the palace now. Therefore, whatever every other person that have been enjoying before he came in, he too must enjoy it. True. You cannot now because he came in and say, no, Fubara, you must be segregated. You can't enjoy it. It's not possible. Therefore, as we speak, I kept telling you here, I asked this question last time when we discussed this matter, Esther. I said, are you sure APC will trade Fubara for Wike? And I asked this question.
It's like Wike is the only PDP member, supposed outsider, that is given an appointment in Tinubu's government.
Esther, Wike is not even a PDP member as we speak. The part of PDP where he has been aligning, have you not seen the judgment that have said, I go, you are no more the secretary of PDP? And
there's a possibility that Turaki-led, faction may be recognized.
Any moment from now, because we are already looking to that the handwriting is already being spread on the wall.
So Wike will be party-less or he'll be forced to join the APC?
Even before this time, whether or not, even he has been expelled, he has a certificate.
Yes.
We saw when the chairman displayed it, that he should come on and collect his certificate. Maybe by now we would have even used dispatch rider to send it to him. It's possible. So Wike must have to think of where he belongs now. I described it last time that Wike is now a bat. It's not an animal that you call the bird, and it's not an animal that you call it's an amphibious or a domestic animal. It's just flying on its own. Forget about the razzmatazz he came to do last week of December, that day that he was visiting all the local government. Forget about it. But we hear he want to float, he's floating a Rainbow Party. Let's see whether that one will come up on board for him. And we already hear that he has already penciled down a governorship candidate that he's going to use to replace Fubara. But it is not in his power. It is in the power of Rivers State. The River people owns that seat. It does not belong to Fubara. It does not belong to Wike. It is River people that owns the seat that will determine who will occupy that seat come 2027. So if Fubara so serve them well and say, our son go back, he will go back because he had 8 years. They gave him that power. It was not his own power. So he is not the one that will say he's a bad son. That word is an aberration to that seat. It's not using that word to demean Fubara. It's using it to demean the office of the governor of Rivers State. Because anybody could have been in that office, if not Fubara. Exactly. Do you understand? Exactly. So if he's saying it's a bad son, which means the whole is not telling the whole Rivers people who voted for Fubara that they voted for a bad son. And Fubara have not done the contrary. Rivers people are saying the agreement we had with Fubara is to give up the dividend of democracy. True. Even with the period, as this period he has stayed with, even the incarceration, 6 months incarceration, out of power and order, he has been doing well. So all this one is just gallivanting and telling all this one to Rivers people. Rivers people are not buying into it. He should concentrate and give Rivers State the dividend of democracy, Fubara, and 2027 they will decide whether it's to go back or not. Let Wike find a political party where he will be doing gangsterism and behaving as a motopath tout.
All right, Mr. Elvis Alimehele, thank you so much for giving us your insight into some of the stories read out on the World News at 6. We've run out of time. I sincerely do appreciate your
Thank you, Esther. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Elvis. And just before we go, let's look at stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Negotiators from Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. are meeting in Abu Dhabi for the first trilateral talks since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Senior officials from all three nations are involved, but it is unclear whether they will be in the same room together at any point. And whilst the talks take a new format, the core differences remain the same. The stakes are high, but expectations are limited. Mr. Donald Trump is pushing hard for a peace deal in Ukraine, the one he promised but hasn't yet delivered. And he said this week that the two sides were stupid if they couldn't agree. But despite some intense shuttle diplomacy by his own envoys, they're hosting the first trilateral talks between Ukrainian and Russian negotiators, with some major issues still unresolved. Ukraine is engaging with the process because it wants peace more than anyone, but also because it needs to keep the U.S. on side. It learned the lessons the hard way last year when Donald Trump briefly suspended intelligence sharing and military aid. Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says his talks with Trump in Davos were really positive, and he hopes for more air defense support against Russia's relentless attacks as a result. And that's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Mwachuku. Good evening, and thank you for staying with us.